But the fact that you and I have so much in common, and we met on Craigslist of all places, there's something about how the universe happens. And you're already smiling because you know where I'm going, because we've had this conversation 100 times. But there's this thing that my students in my program call the woo-woo factor. People need to understand how you and I met. Do you remember how we met? You probably don't even remember, do you?
Craigslist?
We met on Craigslist. Yeah, we did. I was desperately unemployed and out of work, and I would do anything just to make $100 off Craigslist. I didn't care. And there you were as well with your directing and writing partner, Jesse. Had a credit card, and you shot a few minutes of this pilot, and you're like, we need somebody to help us get this thing off the ground. So this is going to lead to where I want to go next. But the fact that you and I have so much in common, and we met on Craigslist of all places, there's something about how the universe happens. And you're already smiling because you know where I'm going, because we've had this conversation 100 times. But there's this thing that my students in my program call the woo-woo factor. And you and I have had at least 15 to 20 conversations about this thing called The Secret.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk a little bit more about this thing that we cannot explain or understand, but the fact that you and I found each other on Craigslist, we have all these things in common. We have such aligned, deeper whys. And then the other weird tangent to all of this is that randomly, like 2-3 years ago, we show up at the same jetway at an airport. Just randomly. How does that, you think about the sheer math of that happening, and we just found each other at the perfect time and reconnected. Let's just go into some of these private conversations we've had about this thing called The Secret and the woo-woo factor.
Yeah, man. Well, it's so, I can't, I definitely can't put into, I have no explanation for it. I mean, there's no real, way to be able to say, oh yeah. I mean, and I guess this is the sort of the bigger thing, as you were talking about that. It's like, it's easy for me to say, oh yeah, set some goals, take this action, and then, follow your bliss, go for the thing, because, there is this other part, there's this thing that, that I believe that we're all connected, you know what I mean? That there's a connection that we all have. And so, if we continue to put ourselves in, in the sort of on the field, in the arena, if you're constantly putting yourself in there, I mean, you and Tony, I mean, it's like all those things, how do you find yourself in these, in these situations? There has to be something that we're listening to, some inner guidance that's saying, do this, and I think that's one of the things. I'm sort of going off a tangent here, but this is where I am today, is that for so long, I'm a hustler. That's what I do. I hustle, and what does that hustle look like? If I break it down, it's networking, I'm sort of as Gladwell said, I'm a connector, I connect people. I love doing that. I love being able to do that. And so, but also that's helped me get work. It's got me, opportunities out of the blue. And, you're, and our stories are so similar. Yours with, Burn Notice. And by the way, was just on a Zoom with Alfredo. He's going to be doing a movie, and
oh my God, that's amazing.
We're talking.
What a small world.
Yeah, and he was literally just going all right, so how can you walk me through your prep for a movie? And I'm like, wait, you're like a showrunner. You're you directed already. You've already he's like, yeah, but not a movie. You're done a movie. And it's that's what's so amazing, is to be able to give back to him, to be able to share my experience with somebody who could be on paper somebody that's he's up here and I'm down here, but instead it's just no, man, we're just two artists, on the journey together, staying connected over 10 years.